All right. Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to Tables, Ladders, and Conversations. This is an exclusive just for our YouTube channel. So it's different than the podcast. And we are previewing because it's February. And you know what that means Elimination Chamber month. So this is a preview show of Elimination Chamber 2026. And I'm here with my partner in crime, the legend himself, Mr. Tim Lewis. Tim, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man? Back once again, and like my man said, Elimination Chamber right around the corner. It's WrestleMania season. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's the final stop. On the road to WrestleMania. So we talked about on our last episode with the Royal Rumble being like the playoffs, basically, and Elimination Chamber. That's like the wild card round, or I guess you could say like the conference finals before you get to the big dance. Like because WrestleMania, if that's the Super Bowl, then the Chamber is the conference finals or the wild card round.
Yeah, I would say this is either you could look at it in NFL, there's wild card, divisional, conference championship, then the Super Bowl. Elimination Chamber, you can say at minimum it's a divisional round,
Yes.
but in some cases it could be the conference championship, depending on how March goes. I feel like you never know. Hopefully, there's no bad injuries or something crazy, but this could be the conference championship round in a way. As you mentioned the road to WrestleMania, so before we get into our preview about Saturday's event, I want to ask you. Now we're still, a month outside of like Royal Rumble and everything, and we still have a little bit to go, couple months really before WrestleMania. But so far, how have you liked how the road to WrestleMania has been shaping in 2026?
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of been a little bit underwhelming,
Mm,
a little bit. I mean, we had a big splash, coming out of the Rumble with the aftermath with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, electrifying promo, which you would think would set it off and really get people pumped, and it did. But with Roman Reigns being off TV these last few weeks, and he's not expected back on TV until after Elimination Chamber, which I believe that first week of March, I believe he's expected back. Which then we'll see the build between him and Punk, assuming that Punk gets past his opponent this Saturday. With that being said, it's like the build for WrestleMania is, I don't know, man. It's not giving me that feeling like how it usually does in previous years.
yeah.
And I don't know if we talked about it last year, but I kind of had that feeling last year. And then, you know, we got to Elimination Chamber, and then boom, John Cena thing happened. And then, that's when things really got started. Elimination Chamber, it can, depending on what happens, it can like shift, the balance and really change things, as far as like WrestleMania and stuff. So we'll see. We're saying like I'm saying at least I'm saying it's underwhelming now, but things could change after this weekend, after this Saturday. So we'll see what happens. I'll hold judgment until after this Saturday. But for right now, as of this recording, yeah, it's not really give me that excitement how it should be.
I think you gave the perfect word. I think underwhelming is how I feel. It's not bad, but it's kind of like very predictable. A lot of like tired, no, I hate to say tired faces, but the same faces that I'm like, I'm just not really that interested in. I need something that kind of give me a spark. And you made a great point. Like last year, what happened at Elimination Chamber really was the turning point for that road to WrestleMania, and it kind of shifted how we looked at WrestleMania. Even though we did know John Cena was going to be, we kind of knew he would be competing in some capacity at WrestleMania. What happened at Elimination Chamber, all time swerve, great moment in WWE history, turned it up a lot of notches. I don't think you never know with WWE, with pro wrestling, but I don't know what they have in their back pocket to kind of give you that kind of twist or that kind of excitement, that jolt. But they need something right now because it is obviously we're both huge fans while we do this show, and we watch and we're going to watch Elimination Chamber, we're going to watch WrestleMania, but right now there's nothing even on the horizon for me either that I'm like I can't wait to see this match or I'm hoping they do this. Like it just doesn't have me going yet.
Yeah, and let me just point out because I may have said it like on the podcast, in previous episodes. Like I'm not a fan of the short match cards either. Because for this Saturday for Elimination Chamber, there are so far there are four confirmed matches. So the two chamber matches, the men's and the women's, and then the two title matches with CM Punk and his wife both co-headlining the show because it is in Punk's and AJ's hometown of Chicago. So I can only assume that Punk will probably be the main event. It's only right. They're in Chicago, CM Punk country. But it's only four matches. I'm like, y'all couldn't add a little bit more. You couldn't give Obafemi something to do,
Yeah.
who's coming off making a big splash in the main roster. You couldn't give Uncle Howdy and Solo, who've been feuding for the last couple months. You couldn't give them a big payoff or something like that. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think you're right because it does for Royal Rumble. That always makes sense because you have 30 people coming in, men's and women's. So yeah, the match card needs to be short.
Yes.
I get that, but Elimination Chamber, those matches can be kind of long, but they're nowhere near as long as Royal Rumble. And I am disappointed in like the short like list of matches here so far, where I'm just like, how I don't know. I think it just puts too much. It does two things in my opinion. It puts too much stock on the elimination chamber matches, even though those are what people are there for. Like they have to go great. Like they better be good because that's the main. That's all you're going to be watching. And then it also just shows me like, well, are you just really banking on the championship storylines? You're not trying to elevate other storylines by giving them matches or other swerves. Like there's to me plenty of time if you do it right where hey something else can be added to it or exciting or a twist on that road to WrestleMania. So it's like it makes me go like, well, you're saving any kind of twist or setups for Raw and SmackDown now. You're not going to use this opportunity. I'm with you. I don't like it.
Yeah, and remember back when we talked about our 30 years of Nitro episode, how we referenced how WCW they would like put their big marquee matches on Nitro instead of saving it for the pay-per-view.
Hmm.
I'm kind of seeing shades of that here with the current WWE and stuff. Like you see a lot of the big payoffs for not all the feuds, not all the storylines, but some of them. Whatever they can't film the PLE, they put on Raw, either the go home show before or that Fallout episode on the Raw after or the SmackDown after. And I'm just like, you could have had this on the show. You could have had this on the PLE or something like that. And I'm just like, it kind of boggles my mind. Like I miss the days when the world title was defended on every single pay per view, every single PLE. Like I miss those days.
Hmm.
Like I get nowadays they're trying to make it like boxing or UFC where it's a privilege to see the champion compete. And but this isn't boxing. This is pro wrestling. Like there's no off season. They don't fight, twice or once a year. They're fighting like every single week. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? In most cases for the champion, they're fighting at least once a month at the
Well,
PLE.
yeah. Well, let me just ask you this before we get into our preview. I'm just kind of like, I guess, wondering when it comes down to it, do you think they should? I guess. Well, no. I guess I would ask you: do you think that they've been doing that on SmackDown as well, or has it just been on Raw that they've been doing it?
It's been both. It's been both.
Okay, which is
Yeah.
better because I could get it with the Netflix crowd. I get trying to make sure, like, just with that global audience you can get, and so like that's a bigger to me. That's just Raw always has been bigger than SmackDown, but it definitely is bigger now. But I don't understand with SmackDown why you're doing that, like at all. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And I agree with you. I think both brands are doing it, but I don't like it. I don't think it's wise, and I think it's hurting in other ways.
Yeah, and it does a disservice to the talent who bust their tails, night in, night out, just to get an opportunity to not only just get on TV, but to get featured on a PLE. And now, back in the day, pay per views, we call them premium live events now, those are like the bookmarks, you know what I'm saying, where either you pay off, you end a storyline, and you start off something new. That's like your bookmark. And then the next 4 weeks, you build to the next pay per view, and that's the conclusion to the next storyline, whatever that is. But your pay per views are always your bookmark. You know what I'm saying? That's where you pay off your storylines and all that stuff. And a lot of storylines they kind of get lost in the shuffle or forgotten about because we see the payoff on SmackDown. And it's only so many episodes of SmackDown that you might remember out of the whole calendar year that you
Right.
kind of forget about what happens on there, unless something like extremely big happens. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's doing a disservice to certain storylines like Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six. They're feuding with Solo and the MFT, right? Why? And this Friday on SmackDown they have Howdy against Solo. Because Solo has possession of that lantern. I feel like you could have had that on the PLE. That could have been one of the undercard matches.
Yeah.
Why isn't Drew McIntyre defending his WWE title? Like CM Punk, I mean, it makes sense that CM Punk is defending the world title. They're in Chicago, his hometown. Why isn't Drew McIntyre, who's red hot right now, who's building up his persona as a great heel champion? You know what I'm saying? His first legit run as WWE champion. He did defend the title of the Rumble, but why not have him involved in something for Chamber too? Like, and Jacob fought too. He doesn't have a match, and we know Jacob and Drew have heat. You could have put something together right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have did something. I just feel like you're doing a disservice to some of the talent and some of these storylines and stuff.
No, absolutely. No, this is something definitely in future episodes we'll talk about. I think you're bringing up good points here. But we're going to get to our preview of Elimination Chamber 2026. We're going to start off with the women's Elimination Chamber match. So in it we have Tiffany Stratton versus Rhea Ripley versus Alexa Bliss versus Asuka versus Kiana James versus Raquel Rodriguez. Tim, let me ask you, what do you think about these one, two, three, four, five, these six ladies? Like, do you think they got the right six for this match?
I give him
Uh
credit.
oh, hesitation.
Well, I'm trying. I want to be honest here, and I want to be unbiased, but
Let it rip.
it's not a bad lineup because these are six talented ladies. You got a good mix here of like veterans and also some young upcomers like Kiana James, which I'm surprised she's in this, but she
I'm
did.
surprised too.
But she did impress in the Royal Rumble, and I think that caught the attention of some of the officials backstage. So maybe they wanted to give her a shot to see what she can do in the chamber with, some
She's
big heavy hitters.
okay. Okay, I'll let you. I like her,
I'm
but
just
she's not the one.
that's just the observation I'm making, just because of her performance in recent weeks and stuff. But that is surprising to me. But hey, hopefully it works out for her. But you also got some veterans like Asuka, like Rhea, like Alexa Bliss, and people who are doing the thing currently, like Tiffany Stratton, Raquel. So you got,
But come on, man. This is why they listen.
but it's just I feel like they could do a lot more. Like, I would have rather, regardless how people feel, I would have rather Charlotte Flair had been in that position. I feel like especially with the story going with her and Alexa, and it looks like they're kind of building tension there. It seems like
Hmm.
I feel like there's no continuity here. You know what I'm saying?
No, to me,
There's no
Charlotte. The
yeah,
first one I look at, just to jump in with you, the
yeah.
first one I look at is Asuka. Why is Asuka in this match? I know Asuka is a talent, but to me, Charlotte Flair should be in this over Asuka. Number one, like I'm just like, why is Asuka to me is someone like is almost like a filler spot, and I'd rather an elimination chamber, even if we we all know the business and have our predictions of like who they're trying to push. Give me six people where I can see it being any of these six. I know it's not going to be Asuka. Like I know it's not going to be her. And I'll be honest with Kiana James, I know it's not going to be her. And why not give me a Lash?
That would have made more sense to me. If you
Yes,
if you wanted to add some new blood into the title picture and give a young up and coming woman a shot, you know what I'm saying, to headline WrestleMania, Last Legend would have been a no brainer, especially with the performance she had in the Royal Rumble last month.
exactly. She was more impressive than Kiana James.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. No disrespect to Kiana James, but Last
None.
Legend, no disrespect, but Last Legend, she had the most eliminations in the Women's Rumble this past year. She dominated. She eliminated Charlotte Flair. You know what I'm saying? I believe she eliminated Jordan Grace. She eliminated both the Bella twins. Like
And
you know what I'm
like
saying?
we said on our preview show or our recap show for Royal Rumble, so you can watch that if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
Did it with charisma and flair too. Wasn't just she was like, oh, just moving them and whatever. Did it? It kept you entertained and was, to me, stealing the show of the whole event. And to have Kiana James, who it's not a knock on her, I do like, but I'm like, doesn't pop to me and doesn't give that. Imagine if we take out Asuka and Kiana, and you'll give me a Charlotte and a Lash. The moments of Charlotte going back at Lash for eliminating her, the power of Lash and Raquel and like those power moves and everything like that. Like it just those two make such a big difference. Then it's a letdown with Asuka and Kiana James,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's a great match, exciting. I think Asuka can bring. Asuka's a tremendous talent, but it just leaves me being like it kind of is like we know there's not drama with it, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and also this ain't 2018 anymore. And Asuka, unfortunately, she hasn't had that mystique she once had. You know what I'm saying? Back when she was in NXT and even her early days on the main roster. So, it's unfortunate, but it's just like Asuka, she's just not that girl no more. You know what I'm saying? Sad to say. She is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure in the
Yeah,
future. Definitely much respect to her. I think she can still put out great work. She can still give a great match and stuff, but it's just that aura just ain't the same no more. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. But like you said, Last Legend as Charlotte, boom, you got a perfect lineup. And like as I was saying earlier, there's storyline continuity with those two women too, because Charlotte and Alexa, they're a tag team that could cause a rift in their friendship or partnership, whatever. Charlotte also has some history with Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton, so you can revisit that those two feuds. Last Legend also has some history with Rhea because her and Nia Jax were feuding with Rhea and Io Sky for the women's tag titles, and Charlotte and Alexa. So there's history there. So that's the thing that's missing, I think. Not enough storyline continuity. That's what made these chamber matches so interesting because before it became like a part and a roadblock to the road to WrestleMania. And before it even became a PLE, like
Right, right.
the Elimination Chamber, it was just like Hell in a Cell where they would only use it sporadically for special occasions, like and to combine like a whole bunch of feuds together just for a common goal, and that was either mostly for compete for a title, right? So, and there was storyline continuity. Now I feel like that's missing. Like they're just competing. I mean, there's a one specific goal, like yes, to compete for the championship and face the champion at Mania, but there's no continuity here. There's no storyline continuity, and you kind of lose interest because it's like, okay, what do we care about this match other than okay, who's going to be a number
Well,
one contender?
and to me, I have like the transition because you're right. I remember just like you when it was used here and there for a certain setup, for like stipulations and everything. And when it became a PLE, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. I've enjoyed it over the years. I really have liked Elimination Chamber, and I do think it's a great. It fits perfectly sandwiched in between Royal Rumble and Mania to like it's an interesting concept as a setup for what happens at Mania. And also I feel like for the behind the scenes stuff, it's a great like redo. They kind of like we didn't really do it right at Royal Rumble. Elimination Chamber, we can do it right. So I like it, but you're right though, where in recent memory, I don't remember it being so scattered as far as like who's in there and just like I don't know. I don't care if Oscar and Kiana James are going at it. I don't really care. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I don't have any care in that. And that's what's disappointing. If Rhea and Oscar, I'm like, I don't really care.
yeah. I mean, now, no disrespect to Asuka, she's definitely, a top name in the women's division, but like I said, she doesn't have that aura like she did 5 years ago or so. The three biggest names in this match are Rhea, Alexa, and Tiffany. You know what I'm saying? Those are like for sure the top three favorites, I guess, to win, you could say. But I do have a suggestion, and I was thinking about this after the Rumble, and hopefully this gets back to WWE and maybe they could use this idea for future Elimination Chamber events going forward. So think about this. We mentioned the Royal Rumble is like the playoffs for
Hmm.
WrestleMania season. And Elimination Chamber, that's the final stop. That's like the wild card round, conference finals, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we know the winner of the Royal Rumble, they automatically get a title shot at WrestleMania, right? So why not, instead of having qualifying matches, I'm not saying you shouldn't earn your opportunities, but just to give it that storyline continuity, like I was saying, why not have the final six or five runner-ups, or at least the winner of the Royal Rumble, they get the opportunity. But let's say the final six runner-ups of the Royal Rumble from each, the men's and women's, they're automatically entered into the chamber match. You know what I'm saying? To kind of give them that second that last chance, that second opportunity. Like the last six runner-ups in the Rumble match from each, they're automatically in the chamber match. You know what I'm saying? They can run it back. They get that last chance. You know what I'm saying? And typically the final six in the Rumble, they're usually like big names anyway. So you ain't got to worry about lack of star power or nothing like that. You already got six big names, whoever it is. You know what I'm saying? Have them run it back and then, may the best person win.
Okay. So then I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think you just have to set it up where your final seven at Rumble have like it's interesting storylines, and then that's an easy transition kind of into
Yes.
Elimination Chamber. So like you just have to kind of
It's all about the
plan
yeah,
it out
yeah,
better.
yeah. It's like you said, it's all about the setup and how we get there. But the concept it's simple, but it makes a lot of sense. It has like a lot of logic to it. I'm not mad at the qualifying matches, but sometimes it's like even we saw these recent qualifying matches, they try to do things where they have an easy layup where it's like this person should be in the chamber match, but then they go the other way, just be unpredictable and stuff like that. Like we said, Last Legend should definitely be in this match, and then they went the other way and had somebody else go in there. But you know,
Yeah, well, I think to your point though, what would help with that is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's this ain't something soft. We all know the risk going into wrestling, pro
yes.
wrestling, but it's like it kind of if you go by that, and now it kind of makes the risk of injury for somebody less too. If you don't have as many qualifying matches, if you're going with the remaining 6 in the Rumble,
Yes.
and let's God for because you can get hurt in the Rumble. We've seen it with Punk, we've seen it with other one, but then you only have like one qualifying match maybe to get that 6th spot instead of this like tournament thing. Like
Well,
I think that'd be better.
just recently, Chelsea Green got injured, so that proves your point. Like we just saw
Yeah,
Chelsea Green got injured in a qualifying match just recently, and she's out with a broken ankle, I think.
right.
She's still on TV though, so kudos
And
to her.
I don't think she was huge in the plans necessarily, but still, it can kind of lessen the chances of injuries happening like that, and then that's to me is the big like thing that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to the road to WrestleMania is sometimes the booking and the storylines like what they're trying to set up you don't like, but a lot of times too it's like man the injuries are happening.
It's been a lot of them quite recently, and
Yeah, in these past few years, it's like injuries are happening, and they have to pivot, and that makes sense. It's a long because this is the Super Bowl, WrestleMania. I think like it's a long year building up to it, and it makes sense where like in all sports, toward the end of the year, those injuries kind of pile up, and it kind of becomes a thing of the last man or woman standing, who's the healthiest, kind of.
yeah, man, and we just saw just early this week, Bronson Reed, he tore his bicep doing a basic, dive to break up a pin, and that just goes to show you like professional wrestling isn't as easy as you think. Like
Not at all.
just doing like something as simple as like a dive, you could just tear a muscle or something like that, tear your bicep, and now he's out for 4 to 6 months. Which basically kills the whole Vision storyline in that faction. I don't know what they're going to do with that. And now I'm wondering, because Seth Rollins, if I'm Seth Rollins, I'm busting my ass to get back just to make it in time for WrestleMania. And now it's like, okay, first Braun Breaker goes down. Now Bronson Reed, who could have been a potential backup opponent for Seth. If I'm Seth Rollins, what am I doing for WrestleMania? Does he go up against? I know we're jumping ahead, but it's like, what do you do for WrestleMania? Does he go up against Logan Paul or?
No, yeah, I said Logan Paul before,
Mhm.
but it is a shame. Now the only thing about it is I wasn't really loving the Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed storylines for Seth. Like I wasn't like I can't wait to see those matches. Be honest, but it does suck for Braun for Bronson Reed. People every pro wrestler wants their WrestleMania moments, so that sucks for them, and I hope they heal. Get well soon.
Yeah.
But I'm just like they need to start looking at this. And I know it's pro wrestling. We want to watch matches, but I do think to what we've been saying, there needs to kind of be where maybe when you get to building up to Rumble and then, kind of slow it down, make sure people are healthy for Rumble, see what happens after Rumble and kind of slow it, make it more thematic.
Yeah.
Make the wrestlers like you can still keep them interesting, let them have great promos, but kind of save it up for those you want in Chamber, and then kind of really rest them up till Mania because these injuries over these past few years, they've been able to pivot somewhat, but
Yeah.
they're killing it. Like they're killing us when it comes to great matches for Mania.
Yeah, how in other sports they have substitutions, what I'm saying, just to give the star players a little breather. Like like in basketball in the fourth quarter, LeBron, he's killing it. He's racking up like 30, 40 points. The fourth quarter, they take him out for like maybe 5 minutes or so just to give him a rest or so. And they let, some of the people come off the bench. Like you could do that for wrestling. But in like wrestling terms, like you said, they don't have to wrestle as much, maybe cut a few promos here and there, do some vignettes, build the story. And like I was saying, like there's no storyline continuity. So like I was saying, have those final 6 runner-ups. You could build up. Use those next 3 weeks to build up those 6 runner-ups, and then to the Chamber. Boom, you got a story. Everybody has a purpose. You care about it. Like it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I agree.
you're protecting people. There's the least chance of a risk of people getting injured. You know what I'm saying? Everybody makes the Chamber healthy. Boom.
No, I agree. Now we're going to do what we did for the Rumble, where I'm going to ask you, who do you think will win, and then follow up. You have to answer who do you think should win. So those are two different things. They could be the same answer, but there's two different things of who will win and who you think should win.
Oh, we're going with me first. Okay.
Of course, Tim Lewis.
Okay. The illest goes first. So, who I think should win, who I think will win. Well, to address your point earlier, I think this is one of those cases where it's one and the same for me.
Hmm.
And just like she was also one of my picks to win at the Royal Rumble, and she's also my pick for who I think should win. And I think she will win, and it's Tiffy time, Tiffany Stratton, which I think this is the obvious choice. And if Charlotte Flair was in this, it would have been a little bit harder to kind of pick because I know there's like a love hate relationship with Charlotte, and they have done a good job of building Charlotte up. And I like Charlotte now.
Yeah.
This is the most interesting she's been in like maybe the past 5 years. So pairing her with Alexa Bliss is like the best thing they could have done. Gives her something else to do, some more character development. And it's interesting because Charlotte Flair, since she came back from injury last year at the Rumble and then taking that loss to Tiffany Stratton, regardless of personal issues or not, she put over Tiffany. She lost in the Queen of the Ring tournament. She didn't qualify for Money in the Bank last year either. And now her and Alexa, they had a good run as tag team champions. They lost the tag team titles now. She didn't win the Royal Rumble, and now she failed to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Like this is the first time, this is the first year I can remember where Charlotte has probably had to deal with the most adversity. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is actually a good thing for her because it builds her back up to
Yeah.
getting back to that status. Like she's that girl again.
And I know what you mean because I think she's had a lot of adversity out of the ring the past since COVID with injuries, with personal stuff in her personal life and different things. Like she's had a lot of stuff, adversity outside the ring. But as far as a character and storyline, this has been great. It has been letting other women get the top spot because the past, since you could say 2015, 2016, 2017, it's kind of like Charlotte and who else
Yeah.
are going for that top spot, but Charlotte was there. It's nice that like she's still relevant, still can wrestle, still got it, but she's not in the main events, and she's showing a funny side,
Yes.
a
Which
humorous side.
I appreciate. I like fun
I love
Charlotte.
it.
Yeah.
It's been great. This has been her best year.
Yes.
I look at from WrestleMania 2025 around there throughout now. This has been her best year in a long time. So I agree with you. Charlotte would make it interesting in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I will say I do think Tiffany will win.
Yeah.
Do I think she should win? No.
I can agree with that if you think she shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But it's the obvious
Oh, yeah, no,
choice.
I'm with you. Like I
Just
think she
yeah.
will, and it's not a bad should she win if you want to do the rematch with Jade. But I'm looking at if it's about going against Jade. I know it's not going to be popular, but she is getting hotter. I would love to see a Raquel Jade matchup.
Ooh, oh,
And I
interesting.
think Raquel Rodriguez is getting interesting enough. I've always been a fan of her. I think she's showing signs she can have that exciting solo run and be an exciting solo performer. I think she can.
That's interesting.
And I think that'd be a good matchup and interesting that power like that's a that kind of what I've seen in the women's division is you get that obviously we know it's scripted, but like they've been doing at WrestleMania, the UFC type, from when it was Charlotte and Becky and Ronda to the Rhea versus Charlotte battles and all that. Even last year with Bianca, Io, and Rhea, these are like big matchups that we're getting here. And I think I would love to get a big match like that if you could get Raquel and Jade. And I think that'd be a powerhouse. No one's pushing the other one around in that one. I think that's who I think should. I think Raquel has earned it. I've really liked what Raquel has been doing the past year, maybe even a little bit longer than the past year, but definitely this past year. And I think she's the one who she's not going to win, but should win.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice because I could kind of see it because Liv, she's already made her decision to face Stephanie Vakir on Raw
Hmm.
for the women's world title. So I guess you can make it an all Judgment Day show for WrestleMania. Raquel, she faces the WWE Women's Champion on SmackDown. That could be an interesting match. I'm just trying to figure out who would be the face in that situation because Jade is a heel, Raquel's a heel. So I'm wondering like who would play the face. They never had heel versus heel at WrestleMania.
No, I think you could do, and I think Raquel would be more of a face,
Mm,
honestly, because Raquel kind of has that comedic side too with her that I think people have grown to like about the Judgment Day. That what they were it was different at first, but as the past couple years have gone on, they've been funny. It's been
yeah.
humorous with them, even in these different makeups of that faction. It's been funny, and I think Raquel kind of brings that. She works off like well with the guys, and I don't know. I think there's a likability to her that I think, oh, she has some personality, and I think done right. it be a project. I'm not saying like, oh, she's ready. Like how? What are they doing? WWE. I can see why they don't do it yet, but I do think done well, it could work now, in my opinion. It won't. They're not going to do that. I really look at it. I think outside of maybe she has the fourth highest chances of winning at best. You can maybe say the only one I think is definitely lower than hers is Asuka.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Like if Kiana James has higher winning percent, if you were in Vegas, she has a higher betting line than Raquel. But I think Raquel should be different. I think Raquel should be ahead of Alexa Bliss and ahead of Rhea Ripley. That I'd much rather see Raquel fight Jade than those two ladies. You know how I feel about both of those ladies,
Yeah.
Tim. But I just think right now with the storylines and who's hotter, I'd rather give it to Raquel. That's who I think should.
Yeah, and to your point, to add on to your point, Raquel, she has spent the past year building herself back up because she was missing action for quite a bit, for
Mm-hmm.
a year or so before that. I know she had like some health issues going on, like she was out of action because of that. And sometimes when you're out of the spotlight, it's hard to kind of get back to the fold a little bit. It's that out of sight, out of mind type mentality with the fan base and everything like that. What have you done for me lately, right?
Yeah.
Because she did have a great run at NXT.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where her, Raquel, Bianca, and Rhea, they were like the big three of NXT, or some people might like to call them Triple H's Angels. Because we had the four horsewomen, so they were like the next generation, basically the next ones up. So and she was seen on the pedestal, but you know Bianca and Rhea, they took off, and she's kind of been left by the wayside. Not her fault. Maybe it was creative or just her own personal health things going on, but still she's like last in the race behind Bianca and Rhea. And that's another thing too is I mentioned Charlotte. Like if Bianca Belair, if her finger had healed in time, I could see her being in this because we know they definitely want Jade and Bianca at some point, and I feel like Bianca definitely would have, added a little flair to this match as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, she just got the surgery on her broken finger, so she's going to be out probably even longer now. But Raquel, I could definitely see her. She's definitely a dark horse for sure. I feel like Tiffany's my pick, but I feel like Raquel is definitely a dark horse to win for sure.
I think
You know,
Tiffany's my pick as well.
yeah.
Tiffany's my pick. Okay, so we both picked Tiffany Stratton. Who should win? Tim says Tiffany Stratton. I say Raquel Rodriguez. So let us know what you think about who we think will win and who we think should win. Now we're going to move on to the men and their Elimination Chamber match. We got Randy Orton against LA Knight,
Yeah.
against Cody Raheem Rhodes, against Javon Evans, against Trick Williams, against Jay Uso.
Yeet.
Yeet. We know Tim Lewis, his pick is his godfather, his favorite wrestler of all time, Cody Raheem Rhodes. But give the people a little drama here before you wax on about Cody Raheem Rhodes. How do you feel about these six when it comes to the men's Elimination Chamber match?
My God.
Raheem.
Hey, did you finally see that promo yet?
Of course I saw the
Oh
promo.
my
Yeah,
God.
that was probably the best thing he's done in years. In like 3 years, that's the best thing he's done.
He's definitely had more great promos than that. Come on now.
No.
Hey, look, for anybody doubting Cody, don't ever say he can't talk or he can't draw a crowd. He can't draw you in on his promos and stuff. That was
That was one. That's the first time. I mean, when he said "f you" to
The
the
Rock.
Rock last Elimination Chamber. So we got one a year.
He got the Rock a couple times actually. Like
Nah, I don't think so.
the Little D Syndrome promo. Come on now.
Nah, it wasn't that great. I'm sorry. That was not that. No, Raheem was good though. Raheem was good.
It was perfectly timed. Great delivery on that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no brainer as far as who I think will win, and that's of course the American Nightmare himself, Cody Raheem Rhodes.
Your Godfather.
I I don't know about all that, but
Should he win?
just based off the lineup here, it's too early. It's too soon for like a Trick Williams or Javon Evans.
I agree.
I feel like it's, of course, I know it's Black History Month. We're black as well. And hey, I'm all for, black people getting they shine, but I just feel like it's too soon. You don't want to push anybody too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Javon, he definitely has a lot of time because he's so young. He's like the youngest person in this match.
No, I agree. I don't think either of those two. I wouldn't really necessarily. I'd be happy because, like you said, black excellence. But
Yes.
I wouldn't feel right about it. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right.
Jey Uso, yeah, definitely not. So I don't hate Jey Uso like, everybody else on the internet, but I don't think Jay should get this either.
Jay is my last pick. I'd rather Javon or Trick get it over Jay. If
Yeah,
it's down to them three, I go Jay is last.
yeah, I yeet that. I yeet that.
Yeah.
Then you got LA Knight and Randy Orton, two other veterans in this match. Randy Orton, he's been to the mountaintop many times. He's even won a few Elimination Chambers himself. LA Knight, still unproven yet, even though he's still over, but it's always the bait and switch with him. It's like, is it his time? Is it now? Like, if not now, then when? I think Cody will win, but I think Randy should win this actually.
Oh, Randy?
Yeah.
Why the Viper?
Yes.
Why?
Just because I feel like lately they haven't really been giving Randy his just due, and they kind of been sleeping on him a little bit, creative wise. And I know, like, okay, Triple H's done a good job of like giving time off when they need it and stuff. And I know Randy's a family man. He wants to spend time. He wants to be there for his kids and his wife and everything. That's cool. But I feel like they're not really giving him enough to do. I feel like he may want time off. I know he's older and stuff. He wants to preserve his body so he can wrestle a little bit longer. But I feel like they could be given a lot more to do. And he's the only one right now who's closer than anybody on the roster to tying and maybe breaking the record of John Cena's world title record and stuff. So I feel like he's the only one I can see right now getting number 18 and breaking the record.
There's something to that. I do agree that I think Randy's still got a lot left in the tank.
Yes.
I think Randy against Drew McIntyre is entertaining, is interesting. I don't think that's bad at all.
Yeah.
So I hear you saying it. I do think Randy has been a setup guy. Like, okay, like you go through Randy, or Randy is, you have that match with someone who either has the belt and Randy's chasing him but can't quite get him, or someone going for the belt has to beat Randy. I do think he could do more and be entertaining. He's always been a great worker in the ring. He's one of the best I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Especially for being as tall, big guy as he is, he can really work. He didn't have the personality for a while, in my opinion. I thought his characters were ugh. But he's over the, especially to me, I noticed at COVID time, I'm like, Randy Orton's entertaining. And he's continued that. So I do think you have good points there. You're making me rethink. I do think Cody will win. I think it's wrong. I think it shouldn't happen. I'm not saying that Cody should not have a great match at Mania or be forgotten about. He deserves to be there.
Yes.
He should be highlighted. I'm tired of like Cody and Drew is tiring though.
Yeah, and that's why I said like he shouldn't only. That's why I say he shouldn't win, just because we've seen him and Drew fight multiple times.
And it's not tiring because of Drew McIntyre.
Come on now.
I'm not trying to come at Cody, but I'm saying if you ask me, it's not like, oh, I wish Cody was the champ and Drew was gone. I love what Drew is doing right now. He might be, as far as men competitors, keeping just to the guys, as of right now, I'm not saying all time, the most entertaining guy right now for the men's division is Drew McIntyre. So then if you have to get rid of one, it's your godfather, Cody Raheem Rhodes. And I do think I was going to go with who should win, LA Knight, because I want to see what LA Knight can do with it. And I think LA versus Drew is interesting. I think you could go either way with that at Mania, where if you want to keep the belt on Drew and LA, oh, he was close, didn't get his moment, or he could get his moment and get a WrestleMania. Like, you could go either way with that.
Yeah.
So I think you made a great point for Randy. I'm going to stick with LA Knight as the guy who should win this.
Yeah. I was thinking LA Knight too, and those like when we were getting down to it, those like the last two on the spectrum. I was like, and I know they're both veterans. Like LA Knight, he's been doing this thing for a while, going on like 15, 20 years or so, but the last 5 years he just started getting like his big break in WWE. But it's like he's been off TV for like a month and then came back to the Rumble. I know they said they had big plans for him, and then when you watch that episode on WWE Unreal from last season, I don't know, so I'm not sure.
You think he's in the doghouse?
I don't know if he's because that happened like this past summer, so I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if he's still in the doghouse, and I don't think Triple H is. I know Vince is his father-in-law, but I don't think Triple H holds a grudge or is as vindictive as Vince was or is. You know what I'm saying? So I think Triple H, he's at least a little bit more forgiving. Like he'll give you like a dressing down, and he'll lecture you about stuff that you might have messed up, but he's not going to like hold a grudge and punish you like that. Like
yeah, if you learn from it, I think
Yeah.
he moves on too.
Yeah,
If
like
you keep repeating the mistake, it's a different story.
yeah, like I know, and I'm sure he has his moments where he can be petty too. But I think in this role he's in now, he has to set that example, right?
Mhm.
And I think it's important that he does, and he doesn't follow like in Vince's shoes, where Vince he would just do things for the sake of it, just because he thought it was funny or amusing, or just because this person did one thing wrong, one thing that was off, and then like he just
Or he
punished.
just didn't like their look.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like LA that was this past summer, so maybe things
We'll
change.
see.
We'll see what happens.
You'll see.
I wouldn't be mad if LA Knight did win. I think out of all these people, like, it's too soon for Javon and Trick. Cody, he's had moments. Jay, yeah, definitely not. Randy, he's had his moments too, but I do feel like it's been a while, and I feel like he's earned an opportunity to get at least another shot at main event WrestleMania and another shot at the title. And I feel LA Knight, you can make a case for him too, but it's hard to get invested. They need to do more to build him up though, because he's been off TV for like the last month.
I think he wouldn't need the build up though. I think he's still hot.
He is. He is.
The elimination chamber win, and then from there on, what you do could be the build up. Give him the win, and he's good on the mic. I think that alone, and like he's known enough and has enough of a following and still hot. If he got the win, it wouldn't be you wouldn't get like a LA Night one. You would get like LA Night. It'd be a great pop. Internet, social media will go crazy, and then it's like, okay, WWE, you're starting off good here. Let's see where you go with this and how do you build up this drama. And I think they could do a great job with it. They're not going to do it. It's going to be Cody. But last question before we get on to the singles matches. We talked about the six for the ladies being mismatched and not great. Do you think Jay Uso is in this match because of just injuries to other people?
Absolutely,
Or
100%.
or do you think like this is a mistake by WWE?
No, he's in there as a substitution because Bronson Reed, who I read, he was originally supposed to win that qualifying match, but because he got injured, legit injured,
Yeah.
they called it audible mid match, and Jey Uso ended up going over. So that's why Jay's in this match and stuff, because Jay wasn't supposed to win this. He
I
wasn't supposed. Yeah.
I was going to say, I still think they got it wrong. Even though he's in it because of injury, they still messed up.
So would you think rather have El Grande Americano in this match?
I'd rather my man Logan. I'd rather Logan Paul.
Logan Paul was in the qualifying match with Javon, right?
Yeah, I'd rather he get in there. You could have done a twist and turn,
Hmm.
and Logan Paul has a stipulation. Logan Paul is more entertaining and more interesting, and will do better in the actual match. Logan Paul can work and brings excitement.
It,
He would make this match more exciting in every way possible than Jey Uso.
wow, you really putting over Logan Paul today, huh?
I'm putting over the truth. That's what I'm putting over that. Jey Uso, they didn't mess up as bad with the men. We know that it is
Y-
because the other five I like. It's Jey Uso, but I still think I know why you did it. I understand. I have empathy. You're in a tough spot. You still messed up. With Jey Uso should not be on this card at all.
Well, that's just due to circumstances and stuff. Like Bronson Reed was supposed to be in this match.
Right.
And I feel like if Braun Breaker didn't get injured, he would have been in this match.
I yes, I think so too. So I get why, but I still think even with the pivot, you could have done something else to get Logan Paul in this match. You could have had Logan Paul challenge Jay and all that stuff. And who knows, maybe that could be a build up to a feud in WrestleMania then if you wanted to. Where Logan beats Jay, he steals it from Jay to get this final spot and Jay's ticked about it, blah blah blah. I don't care. Jey Uso shouldn't be in this match. Is he going to yeet for the whole time? Is he yeeting for 20 minutes while he's in the cage? Yeet, and he's just sitting there
I was
like
thinking
at
of
the Royal Rumble.
the minute he won and they announced he was going to be in the match. That's all I thought about. 'Cause I was like, you go back to Royal Rumble. He was eating like 3 times in the middle of the Rumble match. We talked about that. We complained about that.
It was terrible.
You go back to Survivor Series in the War Games match. He did the same thing, right? Mid match. I can already see like we probably about to get. He about to run it back mid match. He probably gonna be eating on top of the pod in the chamber and stuff, like
If
running
he
it back.
does that, I gotta hope. I don't know. I might break my TV. I might throw my remote at my TV. If he does that, we might come on for the reaction, the recap show, and being like, "Yo, man, I couldn't watch the rest of it. My TV was broken. I broke it in anger with Jey Uso eating again. No more. Triple H, hear us. Don't do that no more. No more."
My God.
boy. But I think they made a mistake here. Hopefully, I'm wrong, and Jay does something good in the match and makes it entertaining. But I don't think Jay Uso should be in this match right now. I think there's other people,
Well, I
and
mean,
I
just
know.
just pertaining to that match, I mean, it was Jay, it was El Grande, and Braun. I mean, you only had two options. Like, would you, like I'm saying, just to keep it to that match? I know you mentioned Logan Paul should have been in it, but would you rather El Grande be in that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I'd rather El Grande. Jay Uso was last.
anybody but Jay, right?
Right now, yes, Jay Uso. Just for now, like, don't be in there. I'm not saying I like El Grande more than Jay Uso, but I think I'd rather have El Grande in the match.
Hornswoggle could have been in that match. You would have picked him over Jay.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay,
If Jay starts yeeting twice, then yes, I'll take a stranger in the crowd. I'll take Pat McAfee returning or something, and give me that.
you'll take green shirt guy in the front row.
I'll take green shirt guys. So all right, so
Shout out to Smiles. That's his name.
yeah, so we're gonna move on to the singles matchups, and we're gonna go to the ladies first.
Okay.
This is a singles match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The man, Becky Lynch, the champion, versus the hometown hero, Jay Lee. How do you feel about this match?
I think it was bound to happen sooner or later. I'm surprised they're doing it a month early before Mania. I thought we were going to get a little bit more build up and this would happen at WrestleMania, if I feel like. But because they're in Chicago, her and her husband's hometown, it does make sense. But it leaves me believe like it might be some shenanigans. And are we getting to our picks now, or
Yeah, you can say it. Go
okay,
ahead.
okay? Because it's before Mania, I feel like both Punk and AJ, one of them's probably gonna take an L. And we know it's not gonna be CM Punk because I know they want that big money match with Roman. I feel like it's gonna be shenanigans going on with Becky and AJ's match, and Becky might try to get the upper hand, try to do some sneaky tactics and pull one over on AJ or force a disqualification or something just to protect AJ, right? So she doesn't lose like right away or something. But I think the man, big time Bex, I think she will, and I think she
Well,
should go over. I feel like.
there's two things that you said interesting stuff here. Number one, I do feel it was a mistake. I think AJ's this singles match should be against somebody else. If you want it to be Bailey or Lyra, I don't care. Qualifying like a match to get like a number one contender match,
Yeah,
and then AJ gets that win and sets up for Becky at Mania, which is now I'm interested in where are they going with Mania? Are they going to maybe make it a nice Chicago night and both Punk and AJ get wins and they're both champion, husband and wife holding up belts in Chi-Town, and then at Mania Becky gets it back.
they could go that way. They could.
Happy ending in Chi-Town. They're Punk. Well, I don't know. I guess AJ's on before Punk. I would think.
I would think. I mean,
You
it,
never
it,
know.
I mean,
But
it's.
imagine AJ winning and Punk coming out and hugging her and lifting her up, and they both got belts, and it's, a nice little moment for WWE.
I could see it going that way too, because maybe they want the Chicago crowd to leave home, leave happy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're probably worried about a possible riot in the streets and such. But sometimes WWE they like to pull the swerve, and you sometimes the hometown hero doesn't always win either. So
So I think the swerve would be AJ winning. I mean, at least to
really,
the knowledgeable fans. I think most fans like ourselves who follow this and follow like the storyline and we know like what they're trying to do. We read the dirt sheet, we read the websites and all. Um, I would think that Becky Lynch is going to win. Don't you? Or do you think most people are thinking AJ's going to win?
I think AJ, she's clearly the fan favorite, so I think most people have her in the running to win and stuff. I think she's
No,
definitely.
no, no. Most people are rooting for her, but I'm saying for those who we follow the storyline. That's why I
Are
ask.
you, are you, are you talking about as far as like the smart fans? What the smart fans?
Yes, yes. Like
Okay.
I would think that they would think it's Becky. Do you
Yeah.
disagree?
No. Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. I think Becky was my pick too. Like I think Becky is going to go over, and this continues into WrestleMania. Maybe they add stipulation for the rematch or something like that. But yeah, I think Becky should go over. Will H?
Mm,
I don't know. I mean,
really? You think Becky should go over?
just for this match right here, I feel like
So you think she will and should?
yes. Just
I
just for this, just to prolong the story and hit it, because I feel like Mania is the bigger moment right here. and this is AJ's first singles match back, and I feel like they, like, to your point, they kind of rushed it. She didn't qualify. She didn't win a number one contenders match. She just came out, challenged Becky, and kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
coerced her a little bit, kind of goaded her. And Becky gave, then she caved just because she was embarrassed by AJ at War Games and at WrestlePalooza and all that stuff like that. So AJ technically has already beaten Becky twice, even though those are multi-person matches, those two occasions. But AJ technically has two victories over Becky, so I feel like you gotta give Becky something, you know, just to keep this thing going and keep it fresh. That way, it's not completely one-sided. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
so I
yeah,
I
yeah,
I go I hear what you're saying, man, I really do, but, I mean, the first thing is, I think it's a mistake, like we both kinda said, they
yeah,
shouldn't have it now.
yeah,
They should do something else to get that ring rust off of AJ and also to keep the excitement alive. Because 'cause I'm already kinda like, I'm tired of this. We're gonna have 2 more months of this, so I'm like, if you break it up, fine, even though I know where it's leading to. But to me, I think that's so predictable if you are just if you're gonna keep I hope you don't keep it. If Becky wins, I'll be honest, if Becky wins, I don't wanna see this again at Mania. The only way to keep me hooked would be if AJ wins and Becky wants to get something back. And you don't even have to do that. Then if you want to move on, fine. But if Becky wins and then we come back next week and and it's still them two doing it, boring. I want Becky to move on then. If Becky wins, I'm not going to be happy if we're having a rematch at Mania. Not at all. I think to keep it interesting, let AJ get this moment and then Becky takes it back at Mania be great.
yeah. But here's the thing: AJ's not there every week, though. I mean, I know she's just now getting back to the fold and stuff, and she's still trying to shake off that ring rust. But it's like Becky, she's there mostly every week.
Yeah.
She's elevating that women's intercontinental title. I'm just like, do you see AJ defending the title in between, elevating the title before Mania?
Yeah, she can have this. You don't. We don't need you to be. She can keep it going by appearing and doing promos
Mm,
and keeping it interesting. And you can have a match sprinkled in, but we want to keep you healthy.
yeah,
We want to keep you rested. We
right.
want you to be at the performance center still getting, your work in. You don't have to be necessarily in the ring. Look at Cena. And we just went through that. Minus like the whole switcheroo from the heel back to face thing. He kept it interesting by just showing up and talking. So you don't have to be always defending it. Becky is doing more to promote the title by talking than by wrestling, in my opinion. So I don't think you have to. So AJ could show up here and there. Becky will still keep it alive if Becky's there every week talking about it. It's still in our minds. We're still thinking about it. AJ shows up when she has to. They can have a little skirmish and you got to get broken up or something like that. But man, AJ winning would make it better than if Becky. Then I'm like, this is predictable.
Yeah,
AJ's going to get her moment at WrestleMania.
well, I still think Becky's going to win, but with some underhanded tactics. But I can see your point too. And Becky has her gimmick now where she kind of has like this Karen type of persona where she complains if she doesn't get her way and stuff. Like when Maxine beat her for the title the first time, she was trying to blame the refs, and she was going back to the production team to play the replay and stuff like that to see what the referee missed. And
This is her best work in a long time,
yeah,
honestly, in my opinion.
yeah,
Becky
yeah,
Lynch.
yeah. She fits this quite well, and I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious what her character is going to be like when Seth gets back, because we know Seth's going to come back as a face. So I'm wondering, does she turn back face because of Seth, or she stay the way she is for at least for a little bit longer?
No, well, why do you have to have them together?
They don't have to. They don't both have to be face or heel at the same time. But I'm just wondering because sometimes that does play a part. Like we know Jimmy Uso and Naomi, that wasn't like a factor. Like when Jimmy Uso was in the bloodline, he was a heel. Naomi was still a face. Now Naomi, she was a heel and he's a face. So I know sometimes that's not always the case, but I don't know.
I think what I would like is when Seth comes back, Seth has his storyline. Becky, you have yours. I don't need the Becky. That was fine. You want to do the mixed match showdown with Punk and AJ months ago, fine. I don't need like you guys to be in a storyline together. I prefer not, honestly. Like let the ladies be the ladies. The guys do something. I don't need this. We already did it. We seen it. Cool. Move on. Just like I want Punk to be Punk. AJ, if you're here, you do your thing.
So let's keep them separate and do their own thing, basically.
Yeah, we know you're married. We all know that. We don't need more reminders.
I'm just speaking for like the smart fans who are like, well, isn't she married? Like, doesn't she know he's being a dick right now? You know what I'm saying? Just speaking for the smart fans and stuff.
Yeah, the smart fans know better. The smart fans know better.
Okay.
So I think we'll be all right. But keep them. I'm gonna be like the boring. I'm gonna start chanting that if I see them two together in storylines. No, keep it going. All right. So we got the singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The champion from Chicago, CM Punk versus Finn Balor. How you feel about this match, Tim Lewis?
Well, if it's anything like their match in Belfast, Ireland, I mean, we already know we're in for a banger. You know what I'm saying? Like that was an all-time classic that they had in Ireland, man. I wish it was at the Rumble, but it was great that we got that on Raw. But it's cool that we're finally getting another match at a PLE this time. And I feel like we're seeing some things unravel. Like we're seeing like the building blocks for Finn Balor's eventual face turn. Like I don't know if you noticed, like he's starting to kind of like break away from the Judgment Day a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah, yeah.
Even like on Raw, like he didn't have like the Judgment Day merch on or anything. He only had on a suit. Like when he first arrived in NXT, he used to wear like suits and stuff, or he had the leather jacket or something like that. I think we're starting to see Finn go back to formula, go back to his old ways, go back being the prince that we all know him
Do
as.
you think that's good?
I think for now, because he's been in the Judgment Day so long, and he's kind of been regulated as like a side piece. Because you had when Priest and Rhea were in the Judgment Day, he was like behind them, he was running behind them, and then when they left, then he had to fall behind Dom and now Liv. So I feel like he needs to step out of all their shadows. This is his time to kind of remind people of who he is. I'm not saying we need to see the demon back or anything, at least
No,
not
no,
right
no, no,
now.
no. No,
But
I feel you.
we need to see like he's too talented. He's too much of a talent to just regulate to like the mid card or just be like in a tag team or be a sidekick for somebody. Like he could be a legit contender for a world title. So this is his chance to like prove that he still got it. He can still hang with the big guys at the top. You know what I'm saying? So
He's close. I don't think what you said, I agree with everything you said. I really do. And I think you're right. The big thing is he's such a talent. That was what makes it hard. I agree 1,000% with you. I'm not going to say this like definitely because I don't know. And I think there could be a change when this change comes. This could be his, maybe it's do or die, in my opinion, for him because it's been a while where it's like in the late 2010s, it was like the Finn Balor push, and then he kind of fell like he was boring and didn't work. And then to me, the Judgment Day stuff kind of kept him interesting. Sneaking behind, like not vibing with Priest and stuff like that. He had some comedic chops that made me laugh. I kind of was liking him going at it with Liv and Raquel or that little power struggle thing and still being funny. Judgment Day still works for me. I know it's crazy. It's different like members and different setup for that faction. I give him credit though. It still kind of has it. It's not as strong as it was.
no, absolutely not.
So I get why you want to make this shift, but I don't know if he's just someone who's really a talented worker who doesn't have it to be a top guy. He has, as far as in the ring, he has top guy talent, but as far as the charisma and personality, does he have it? I don't know. I'm not going to say no yet, but I'm really questioning it.
Well, and I'll agree to an extent. Like, yes, the Judgment Day run, we've seen a lot more a different side of him, like a more humorous, comedic side to him, which I think he's done pretty well at that. Those some of those skits were pretty funny. And then him like instigating, trying to power play, and coerce his way as being like the top dog in Judgment Day and stuff, messing with Dom or Liv or whatever like that, or even when Priest was there, like him butting heads with Damian Priest. Like those are great, but it's all about playing to your strengths. And if you go back to like his NXT days or even his early days in the main roster, he doesn't really need to do a whole lot of talking. Like it's all about presence and his aura and stuff. Like they even notice they brought back his original music too, right?
Hmm.
Where he does the pose and the spotlight and all that stuff. Like that's iconic. That's like one of the things that made him special. Like once they took that away, he kind of lost some of his aura. You know what I'm saying? And
He was boring though.
but the thing is, though, there are some wrestlers where they need to talk to feel special, and then there are other wrestlers who need to just get out there and wrestle to feel special. And then you got the select few who are rare. They have the total package. They have everything. They can wrestle. They can talk.
Yeah.
They have the stage presence. All that. And he fits into that category where just ring the bell and let him go to work, and boom. You know what I'm saying? You see greatness right there.
But traditionally, because what you said earlier was to compete to be the top guy. If you're competing to be the top guy, you more than anything, even more than that you can go in the ring, you have to have the charisma and that to bring you to the seats,
I think
to be
he
able to be a main event and that you can lead the charge. You and I on the podcast debated about Cody all the time. I think Cody has it more than Finn, and I don't think Cody's a main guy. So I think he has that more than Finn Balor right now, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Oh yeah, and of course the mic skills they definitely play a big part in that as much as the wrestling. But what I'm saying is he can still be a top guy, but he may not be the best talker, but he can still be a top guy. Like go back to his second NXT run when he went back to NXT like 2019, whatever it was. Like he brought back the Prince. He turned heel. Like that to me. That was like the best version of Finn I think we've ever seen. I feel like if he could just get back to that, like he doesn't have to be like a super baby face where he was like, remember they had him smiling and stuff, like it just looked awkward and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't need to do that, and we don't need to see the demon either. Like if I don't never see him become the demon again, it's like I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
No, he don't need to be a demon.
And I feel like they kind of ruined that anyway. With his last two appearances as a demon, but I feel like if he goes back to just being the prince, that badass, prince that just comes through, doesn't care about anybody but himself, just becoming champion. That's what he needs to
And
do.
he was main event in NXT.
Yeah, but he had to get his groove back. Only reason he went back to
Right.
NXT, he had to get his groove back, and then
Right.
he came back to the main roster, and then immediately they killed that push again. Until he got in
You
the
think
Judgment
that
Day.
Prince thing would have worked on the main roster?
Yes, I feel like it could
I
have.
don't think so.
It could have.
I don't think he had it. I think, especially at that point, because that was 2019, right?
That was like 2019, early 2020.
Yeah. And then, now this isn't his fault. With COVID, I think that what happened, that would have been really bad for him. Like that, and it would have sucked because he really wouldn't have gotten a chance to even show what he could do with that character. So I'm kind of glad it didn't happen because he would have been screwed over. Like not as bad as Drew McIntyre was, but bad. Like if they did it just due to no one's fault, but just what happened. But I think like he's up in the air for me as far as I don't it's make or break time. It's like to me, you got to be beyond the gimmick, beyond just the crowd. When you come out and the crowd can do the whole and like they can all have fun with you. That's what happened. Jay Uso in 2024 was more than just a yeeting. He was a fun personality. In 2025, he went back to just yeets. And now he's just a yeeting guy. And that to me doesn't cut it. And that's all you have is a good intro. And then you kind of lackluster in personality. Finn won't be lackluster in the ring. Like we know he can bring it. But I don't think there was never a time I was hearing any thoughts of like in these past few years, man, so and so got hurt or the men's division needs an extra push from somewhere. Finn Balor. It's like it never was that. It just wasn't.
I just feel like they never gave him, at least Vince, when he was on the main roster, they never gave him an opportunity. He had one big one after his first Universal title win, like against Brock at the Royal Rumble a few years back. And then he actually had a good showing against Brock. And then after
He
that,
did.
he didn't really have any more opportunities after that. But I just feel like
Well, let me ask you for this build up for this match, how have you felt it's been?
it's been pretty solid so far. I feel like they could have done more, and I feel like they have. It's just the way it's written. Like Punk, he's distracted because he's still got Roman on the horizon at WrestleMania, but he's also dealing with Finn Balor, who's being a thorn in his side right now. So, in his mind is kind of like split in two different directions. You got Finn right now, who's the immediate problem right now, and then you got Roman on the horizon at WrestleMania.
And you see the difference? There's two things I want to say. The difference of there's no dastardly thorn in the side when you talk about Punk and Roman. It's mano a mano. Let's see these Brahma Bulls, these alpha dogs go, right? That's the storyline. You got to be really special to pull off to be the main event and being like that dastardly deed kind of guy. I do agree with you to an extent that it's not all, I'm not just trying to put it all on Finn's fault here. But I look at back what you said when I kicked it off to you about this match. You were just talking. You went to. They gave us a great individual match with nothing on the line really in Ireland. So you're excited to rewatch what happened in Ireland, which was a great two great workers giving you a great match, which is cool. But then it loses its luster as far as like this is a main event kind of thing.
Well, I think with because it's Punk and because it's in Chicago, this will be. I think this will be the main event. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know that the PLEs call it Elimination Chamber. But sometimes it doesn't. The chamber matches doesn't always main event the show. But I feel like because it's Punk, it's in Chicago, this will be the main event, and it's for the world title. Biggest match in a while for Finn Balor. At the time in Ireland, we thought that was just a one off. We thought that was just a one off thing. And you saw Punk shake Finn's hand. You know what I'm saying? Like he gave Finn his flowers. And right there, you can see more building blocks to his face turn. And then the next week, Finn comes out, attacks Punk, does a dastardly act. Like you might say it's like, him not being on the same level as Roman, but he has to do that type of stuff to get to that level, to get noticed because he's been overlooked for so long because he's been hiding in the background playing sidekick to Liv or Dom in the Judgment Day. He has to come back out of that shell and remind people who he is. So that's why he has to resort to these tactics. You know what I'm saying? But he's still showing signs that okay, he can be his own man and he's distancing himself from the Judgment Day. Even like someone who's like his close friend, someone who was a protege of his, like JD McDonough, who's like questioning if he's still loyal to the Judgment Day and stuff like that. Like you're starting to see that little tension, that friction between them. Like he's breaking away slowly but surely. And I can't imagine, like we already saw last year at WrestleMania, like he still owes Dom a receipt for getting one over and, pinning them for the Intercontinental title. So we know that's coming up too. So I think the breakup with the Judgment Day is definitely coming sooner or later. But
There's
this is definitely his time to like remind people and show what he can do. Like you said, it's put up or shut up.
it's put up or shut up. Like, and so I'm not going to say I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. And you make great points, honestly. But it's just like I just do think I don't know if there's been a lot of talk about this. I think it's almost like if you don't do it now, not that you don't have a career, like you're good, like you're a heck of a worker. But then that main event, I can't see it happening a couple years from now. Like it's you got to show me something now here, man, because you're just a good worker, which is great to be. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm like, I don't care about Finn Balor by himself. I care about Finn Balor in the Judgment Day. Finn Balor being mad at Dom, or when he was going at it with Priest and Rhea and all that stuff, and he's running away. Like he was really good in that part. And I think some people are good supporting players in things in life, and he might be that.
Well, there are
He
some
may
people.
not be.
Well, I like the Judgment Day, but I do feel like you might like them still together. I mean, I do feel like at this point, and who would have thought the Judgment Day would have outlasted the Bloodline, right? Like we're going on what 4 years now? 4 years?
When they Well, okay, you're right. Who would have? I thought when you had that, the pivotal moment was how would this play out with the Liv, Rhea, Dom triangle, and you knew which way it was going to go, but we to their credit and to the performers did a great job of not only is he with her, but then you have Finn and them screwing over Priest, and now it's a whole power structure. Liv is on top, and she's done great with that. So being able to execute the double switcheroo was brilliant. And that's why it's like that got pushed over the edge. And I think the bloodline was Roman. I mean, there was great supporting people. Sammy came in there, Jimmy and Jay. Of course, it was Roman and Paul was the bloodline. So when Roman stops, you know the bloodline stops. The Judgment Day showed it's a great faction where it was a combination of people. It wasn't just Priest or it wasn't just Rhea. It was all of them. So looking back, you're right. In the moment, I wouldn't have thought that, but looking back, it's like, yeah, it makes sense why that's lasted longer than the Bloodline.
Yeah, which goes back to our DX NWO episode from the podcast where the NWO, it was Hogan, Hall, and Nash. They were the three main characters, but DX, you go back, at least the Triple H led DX, like everybody played a role, everybody was essential, everybody had a significant part in that. From Triple
No,
H
no.
to Outlaws, X Pac, China, everybody played their role.
Well, that was a podcast episode. So if you want to hear us talk about DX versus NWO, go to Apple, Spotify, or listen to podcasts and look at our archives. That episode was about the greater impact, which to me, NWO, the greater impact, still felt to this day. It's NWO, and they crossed over bigger than what DX did. DX to me did not get going until Shawn Michaels left in Triple H. The Triple H, Shawn Michaels, China, Rick Rude thing was like I didn't like it. I still don't like it today. Like it was not that great. And honestly, I'm glad Shawn turned his life around. But to me, when I watch those clips, it's very obvious Shawn is going downhill in his personal life. And to me, the work isn't as great, in my opinion. So that's what hurts DX. Like It's not like Judgment Day has multiple good iterations. DX is like NWO where they have one good one, and that's when Triple H, X Pac, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn were doing their thing. So like they're both even on that one.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That sounds like an idea for a future what if topic for our podcast. Maybe what if Shawn Michaels didn't go away for 4 years or something like that.
oh boy, I don't know. That could get dark real bad. I don't know. I'm great. I don't know if Shawn Michaels is living.
Mm,
If thank God that he is,
yeah,
and because he found God, he turned his life around. I think the way how hard Sean was going with his addiction, with just how he was living life, with mental health, he wasn't good. I don't know if he keeps going unless it's a divine intervention. I think that injury he needed to slow down and face himself, and I think for a lot of us, right, not just but especially wrestlers back then, I don't want to say it was impossible, but it was hard to face yourself. Like when you're on the road so much and you're living hard, and when do you, unless you have an injury, when do you slow down and look at the man or woman in the mirror and be like, well, I need help? If he doesn't have that, I thank God he did get injured. And I thank God he turned his life around in amazing fashion. Like I really do. So, I mean, we could do that, but I think we can get dark with that one.
yeah.
We can get dark with that one. But
Just something to think about. Just something to think
yeah,
about.
yeah. I do. I go ahead for if you got something.
Yeah, this is something to think about, but also going back to the Judgment Day and because we're talking about Finn and everything. It is impressive that the Judgment Day that not only they lasted as long, but they have multiple iterations of the faction. What faction has done that? You know what I'm saying? Like DX hasn't done that. NWO, even though they had like 87 members and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and two different factions at one point. Not to mention the other spinoffs like the LWO and BWO.
That's why their impact's greater than DX.
But what faction has had multiple different eras that were all entertaining and great? You know what I'm saying? Whether it
Yeah,
was
'cause I mean, there's different Four Horsemen groups, but I don't know if they're all as entertaining. I didn't like when Luger was in it as much, But there's other than that, I can't think of another faction. Yeah, Judgment Day is going down as a historical faction, in my
yeah,
opinion. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, you can make a case, man. Like they might be top 25 maybe if they,
Top 25 factions.
or top 50.
No, that's not that. That's like they should be higher. If you're calling them historic,
You, th-
they
oh, you
should
think
be
that? You
higher.
think this be higher? Okay, I was trying to be fair, not trying to like overrate them too much or nothing like
No,
that.
no. I mean,
Okay,
if you believe it, say it.
okay, yeah, I would say top 10, top 15 or so like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of. I mean, there's been a lot of but a lot of factions haven't been great.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of great factions, in my opinion.
yeah. I was trying to sound unbiased and not trying to overrate them or nothing like that, but
I
they
think they should be talked about.
I mean, right now, and they're still going as of right until something changes. But as of right now, as of this recording, like they're still standing the test of time. Like they outlast,
When would you say they started? 22.
yeah, 2022 after WrestleMania because Edge, he was the founder, he was the original leader.
Right. I was gonna say from everything from COVID, from when COVID hit and they're in the performance center to present day, they're high on like what highlights of WWE. We'll keep it just up to WWE so far. In these 6 years, they're pretty high on like standouts. Like I named them pretty quickly. Yeah, I talk about WrestleMania 40. I could talk about the Fiend and with that run. Um, I love what Bianca has done and Rhea, but that's part of the judgment. Like Judgment Day are pretty high to me as far as like impressive things. The Bloodlines up there, like they're high up there as like the best things of the company and so far in this decade. Like it's the Judgment Day, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and just like how you mentioned, the Judgment Day kept Finn interesting. Like, look at what it's done for the careers of Dominic Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Look what it's done for Damian Priest. Or
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley,
You know,
Liv Morgan,
and Live, yeah. And you know what I'm saying? And I
brought back
imagine
Carlito.
Carlito, he was like the unsung hero of that group.
Mm-hmm.
He was the comic
Mm-hmm.
relief. I wish he didn't get released. 'Cause I would have liked to seen him do more, but you know,
Added to our truth a little bit.
yeah. He was a great substitute for R Truth, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
a great addition. And then you got workhorses like JD McDonough. You got powerhouses in there like Raquel Rodriguez, who that
It's
group
helping her career.
yeah, is helping her. and now you got Roxanne Perez in the fold. It was a
Yep.
young upstart, the prodigy. So
It's
it has done wonders, and it does like build up talent, for the future and stuff. So it is great.
and they've given you everything. They've given you great comedic stuff
Yes,
and been hilarious. They've given you great drama.
yes,
Like that was great drama. Rhea messing with Dom was a baby face, and her like almost like bullying him into then like making him submit to be her boyfriend and be a part of it. But remember, like, and then the beef with Dom and Ray, and them going to the house and beating up Ray in front of the family. That was like dramatic kind of stuff here. And then even this whole thing with Liv and Rhea and Dom, and then them screwing over Priest. You get the funny and you get the dramatic with them, which is hard to do.
yeah. And let me just say, Rhea Ripley forcing you to be her boyfriend is not a bad problem to have.
Not a bad problem at all.
Yeah, and then going from Rhea to Liv, like, come on now. If you
I think many men have been jealous of Dominic Mysterio these past few years.
He's playing in a whole another league, my friend.
Yes, yes, yeah, and I think he's hanging in there.
Yeah,
He's hanging. I haven't heard no complaints from Rhea or Liv. So go ahead, Dom. Go ahead, Dom.
like
But
it's crazy. Like you go back 4 years ago, like who would have thought like one of the big standouts from the Judgment Day would be Dominic Mysterio, and you see where he's at now. Like
yeah,
he's Intercontinental Champion, and at the same time he's AAA Mega Champion. Basically, they're world champion. So he is a world. He's like the only world champion in the group.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
big. That's big, man. That's
It's been
big.
huge. It's
That's
been
big.
huge.
So
I have one final question before we wrap it up. Something that kind of hit me I early in this episode, and I want to ask you, and it's things that we've talked about off air a lot, but I kind of want to bring it up here. I think it was actually we were talking about Charlotte and Charlotte getting paired with Alexa and all that stuff. And I was like, when was the last time I thought Charlotte was kind of fun a little bit? And I was like, the mixed match challenge. She would buy that first one. She had Bobby Roode, and I kind of like, okay. And that was huge for a lot of people. As far as, in my opinion, that was huge for Alexa and Braun Strowman. I even like Jimmy and Naomi. The combinations, and those matches were entertaining and funny. They didn't necessarily go with the storyline, but it was something that like it did kind of help the storyline if it because like Alexa and Braun, in my opinion, got a big push from that. And I'm like, do we need the mixed match challenge to come back?
yeah,
I think
yeah,
right.
yeah.
How come you said yeah so quick?
Because just to add, have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Just to have some fun, add a little flair. I got the privilege of actually seeing an episode or a taping of Mixed Match Challenge like after a SmackDown, I think, like a few years back. And that was a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like basically like a glorified like exhibition, basically.
Like
Like
yeah, glorified like dark match.
yeah, like no storylines, nothing attached. It's just like just them going out there having fun. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't show it on TV. It was like on Facebook, I think, Facebook Live or something
It
at the
was on
time.
the network,
It was on the network.
WWE Network.
I remember live. It was on Facebook. It was on Facebook Live.
Yes, it was on Facebook Live, but you could watch the matches.
Okay.
They would put them on WWE Net. That's where I watched them.
Okay. Okay. Well, it was on both, but
Hmm.
I remember watching it. I remember it was Bobby Lashley teaming up with Mickey James, and they were going up against Mandy Rose and Goldust. Like they had all these weird like some tag teams they were just like makeshift, like just random, and then you had other tag teams that made sense if they were like real life couples, like Jimmy Uso and Naomi, obviously, the Miz and Maurice.
Yeah, and I think it does. It kind of helped people have fun and show a personality. And I think when we talk about it, that's kind of been the key to a lot of this in the past few years is when they're trying to push someone and it doesn't work. And then they kind of make them a heel and they make them be funnier. Or I don't know, they make them or they just happen to be funnier. And people like them. Charlotte, she was funny with Alexa this past year. And it was like an interesting thing of like, oh, they got put together, but okay, they're an odd couple making it work. And you grew to like Charlotte again. For the first time in like a decade, it feels like overwhelming people like Charlotte. I think it was great for like Alexa Bliss back then when she did it. It was great. Braun. I became a big Braun fan from that mixed match challenge with her. Like it just did huge things. And I'm like, to highlight both the men's division and women's division, bring back mixed match challenge. Look, Raquel and Finn and something like that, and they're bickering or something like that. Liv and Dom do something. You know what I mean? Like that's just a couple of tag teams I'm naming, but like there's more.
And
There's
all,
more.
and then of course when Bianca gets healthy, Bianca and Montez, that's the obvious one right there.
I think that'd be how funny is Montez?
And if you happen to watch their reality show, you already know they be cutting up. So I just imagine how they would be in the ring together.
And now I'm still waiting to see where this vault, where all my WWE network shows is going to be at. I'm getting some PLEs are on Netflix, so you can watch all the old school WrestleManias and Royal Rumbles and stuff and Elimination Chambers on Netflix. My shows I'm still waiting for. Are they coming on YouTube? I'm looking. I haven't seen them as of today. I'm getting WWE Vault, which I like that channel, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my shows, my Legends of Wrestling shows. But wherever you're going to be at, if it's on YouTube, fine. But that's great content there that I think can be entertaining and I think can help the talent you want to get over. And I think we need more things like that.
Yeah. And going back to like Bianca and Montez show, I think the reason, because remember we were talking about off air, like we couldn't find it on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of the Netflix deal, which I guess automatically terminated their contract with Hulu, because remember they would show reruns of Raw and SmackDown on Hulu the next day. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, and because Netflix is direct competition with Hulu or Disney, because Disney owns Hulu or whatever, I think that was a conflict of interest. So they cut ties with that, and that's why you don't see replays of Raw and SmackDown on Hulu, unless you have Hulu Live where you can watch it either way. But basic Hulu, you can't watch the Raw and Smack, and I think that also
Well, I know
affected.
you're not going to watch Raw on there. Raw's on
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Raw, yeah, Raw especially, but SmackDown you can't see unless you have Hulu Live. You can't see SmackDown, but I think that also played a part in why we don't see Bianca and Tez's show, even though that is a Hulu original. But because I guess it's WWE related, I guess they took it off too. So hopefully,
That's weird though,
yeah, it is. But
because WWE has a deal with ESP, which is under Disney. That's all in the Disney family too.
yeah, that's weird too. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that is weird. I'm glad you brought that up. If you remember, like Netflix when they had the Marvel shows, but
Mm-hmm.
when Marvel got all the rights back, then they took them off, like slowly but
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You didn't see Daredevil on there. You didn't see Defenders. It's like, okay, but they pop up on Disney Plus now.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
hopefully in the future, maybe I don't know where it's going to land because they don't have to deal with Peacock no more. So I'm just like, maybe they show up. Maybe they show up on YouTube or something. Maybe you see Bianca and Tez's reality show on YouTube or something.
I wish it could get. I only watched like a couple episodes. I remember I wanted to finish it,
Yeah, me too.
but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. You were talking about it. I'm like, I'm gonna go watch them, and then it was like, where is it? I remember asking you. You know where it's at? Like, because I was like, I got 2 episodes in. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's canceled. Could they have a season 2? I don't even know.
I mean, if it was canceled, they still would at least left season 1 up. You know what I'm saying? And for those that are wondering, it's Bianca Belair and Montez Ford's show, Love in WWE. That's the name of the show, the reality
Yeah.
show. Pretty good. I only got to like 3 episodes. I was going to go back and finish it, just like Deremy, and then all of a sudden, like it's gone. I'm like, what the hell? It's not even like you can't search
But
or
you know what's
nothing.
crazy? I get Total Divas and Total Bellas.
Hmm.
Miz's show with Marie, like that show
Hmm.
went on for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a big Miz fan. I didn't think the show was that great. Not at it. Miz, like it was a little entertaining. It was okay. Not as funny as what I got from Bianca and Tez though. Like that
Yeah.
was hilarious
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm surprised. I'm like the Miz show that went on for like a while. Like there's a lot of seasons of that.
Hmm.
Homegirl's way more famous for that show than being in the wrestling industry.
Talking Maurice.
Yeah, way
Yeah.
more. Marisha's way more famous
Yeah.
for being on that show than like she's a star in her own right, but not because of wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like you kind of almost forget like she was Divas champion, but you remember she was on the show with Miz and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was that Ms. and Mrs. or whatever it
Yeah,
was,
yeah, Mrs. Mrs. Yep.
so like because she gets good pop, but I'm like I don't think it's for her
No,
career
no,
wrestling. I think it's
for the show.
for the show. But hey, man, this was fun. We covered a lot on here. Please like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media, TLC Wrestling Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And you can email us any suggestions, any thoughts you have on what we've said at TLC Wrestling Pod at gmail.com.
real quick, did we say who's gonna win the world title match?
I figure we kind of both know it's CM
Oh,
Punk, but
yeah. I just want to make sure we address that. We get that out
and
the
I
way.
think he should win as well. I don't think Finn Balor should win
Yeah.
it. So
I think Finn will have a good showing because this is like a proving ground for him to kind of get back into that main event or upper mid card tier that he was at before. So I just want to point that out, make sure we covered that. That's all.
yeah, no doubt, no
I
doubt.
agree. I think Punk should win this too. Yeah.
Yeah. So for my tag team partner, Mr. Tim Lewis, I'm Deremy Dove. Stay tuned for Sunday after Elimination Chamber. You will get our, I guess you say, reaction show to the Elimination Chamber. So we're putting this up, but we're also going to have our reaction show on Sunday to see what we liked or disliked about the PLE. So also stay tuned. We will have a follow up. But for my tag team partner, Mr. Tim Lewis, I'm Deremy Dove. Thank you guys for watching Tables, Ladders, and Conversations.